Hey, I've seen the look of regret on people who have moved to Boise when they should have moved to North Idaho, and vice versa. The biggest mistake? Not understanding the local culture. This is Boise. This is North Idaho. Hey, I'm Reed with Revealing North Idaho and longtime Idaho resident, born and raised in Idaho. I've been around this whole state for a long time and come at you every week with new information about North Idaho. I've been a real estate agent for over 20 years in the Idaho area, and 10 of that has been up here in the North Idaho. The other 10 was actually down in the Boise area. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about Boise versus North Idaho. Hey, if you have any questions about North Idaho, or you're looking to make a move or just get new information, you're in the right place. So let's talk a little bit about this difference of Boise versus North Idaho after spending 15 years in the Boise area, now 10 years up here. I think I've got some pretty interesting information to talk about the two areas. So today we're going to talk about the two sides of the Idaho dream. One offers city access and a fast-paced life, and the other is going to offer seclusion, nature, a lot of natural beauty. But which is the better place to raise a family? Which is better for finding a job or overall culture or cultural events? Well, we're tearing down the myths and giving you undeniable pros and 5 cons for each. Let's get after it right now. First of all, let's talk about the Boise area. We're going to run over some pros and cons in the Boise area. And of course, being a real estate agent, I thought we'd talk more of the pros of the housing and cost of living. So one of the big pros there for the Boise area is you are going to find housing variety. Newer developments and wider selection of home types compared to the North Idaho area. In most areas, the median house price is going to be less than the Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, or Sandpoint areas. But that doesn't include a lot of our other little pockets, and we'll get into that. But Boise surrounding area, that's, mainly it's Ada County right there. Then you do go up, when you do get up into close to that Caldwell, Nampa area, you do get into a different county right there. But so Zillow lists the average home value in Boise, Idaho at about $504,848 as of last April here just this year in 2025. The median sale price in Boise, this is as of the end of March 2025, is cited by Zillow as about $487,333. The county, more broadly, Zillow shows Boise's home values up 1.9% over the prior years in Zillow. And then some of the local sources also report a median home price in Boise of around $510,000 in the early 2025, and then median in Zillow suggests a median sale price of about $520,133, and that's in April. So in summary, for the Boise, Ada County metro area, nearby suburbs, we are seeing a median typical sales price in the range of about $480,000 to that $520,000. That is from the Zillow average home value, right in that average around that $500,000 range. Because I couldn't find reliable Zillow breakdown for the Caldwell, Star, Eagle, etc., and I don't have access to that MLS down there, we'll treat these suburbs as, likely somewhat above or below the Boise average, and we'll take a look at some of that on the map of what typically you would find above or below in some of these suburbs, depending on the location, size, and amenities. So just to kind of give you an idea, Coeur d'Alene is going to be closer to that 580,663. That is of August 2023. Then for the broader Coeur d'Alene metro area, we're showing, just based off of Zillow, of around that 589,259, and shows a median home sales price in the Coeur d'Alene area of about 544,167. That's May of this year. Then Redfin actually shows a little higher. So, I tried to look at some different areas. The Zillow was actually closer to the MLS of what we were showing here. But to give you an idea, based on some of these bigger towns, like the Coeur d'Alene, Sandpoint, Hayden, I think you're going to see a higher median or average sales price than what you're going to get down there in that Boise. Okay, let's take a look at some of the cons, because some of the cons I was thinking about with this housing is in that Boise area, most likely you're going to be outside of the realm of that downtown or that Boise proper to get into the more affordable housing. And so we'll look at some of that, because depending on where you live, where you work, where you like to play, some of those things could have a big impact on if that is desirable or not. As we take a look at this area here, as you can see, a lot of these areas, say Eagle through here, very expensive. You get out up in here, this Hidden Springs area, that's quite expensive. Star, Middleton, all this kind of stuff out through here is becoming very expensive, along with this Meridian area. Now, it used to be the further you would come out south here, you could find more affordable housing. Some of that has been changing. Kuna area down here typically has a lot more affordable housing than what you're going to find anywhere in this Boise proper area. If you want to get into some of these more exclusive areas, you get out here, coming out along the north end of this Boise area and along the foothills. That all is now becoming very expensive. I think we've seen a lot more in this a lot of older homes that people have come in and redone. And then as you come out through this area here, Harrison Ranch and some of that, it has become quite expensive in those areas. So if you're looking for more affordable housing, you're going to end up, like we were saying, out here in more of this Kuna area, parts of Nampa, which is out here, depending on where, maybe some of the older areas of that. You've got Caldwell up here, which is, a lot of these people up through here have typically been, workers with the farms. It's a little more diverse out through there. But then again, like we were saying, you get out here into some of these areas, it gets quite expensive all through this area here. Those areas have really gone up in price. In fact, I think you're going to start seeing a lot of people have really started moving out more towards this area, past Caldwell. We're seeing people get out into this Wilder area, and even up here, coming up more towards your Fruitland, Payette area, up along that border here. This is the Idaho-Oregon border. Lots of farming all out through this area here. So you're going to see a lot of farming, a lot of farm workers out in those areas. And so that's just something to kind of keep in mind as you're looking through some of these areas of where maybe you would like to be or live. But most likely, if you're trying to get into some of these more inexpensive areas for more affordable housing, you're going to most likely be doing a little commuting, and depending on what type of job you have, because a lot of that sits out here, like AMI's out here towards the southeast. You got Boise State, which is going to be down in here, so for schooling and whatnot, through these corridors here, there is a lot, like you have Hewlett Packard down in this area, and then a lot of the downtown businesses out through there. So depending on what type of job you're looking for and for growth, you may end up having to do a little bit of commuting. So something just to keep in mind. Let's talk a little bit about jobs and economy, just because that was a great segue based on where you might have to go. But, the big pro for Boise is that they have a much stronger job market. Boise is a major economic hub with a lot of job diversity in tech, healthcare, the corporate sectors. Hospitals are always looking. They've got 3-4 big hospitals there in that area. So healthcare and you got AMI that was going to be expanding out there if you're into that tech, and lots of other opportunities with education because of the amount of people there. Schools are always looking for teachers. You've got the different colleges there between Boise and Caldwell and Nampa. So, there's a few different colleges in that area. So there is a lot of opportunity, a lot of jobs, plus a lot of the startups. You've got, with everybody moving in, there's always going to be a lot of construction, a lot of that type of stuff, and everything else that goes with having a city. So some of the cons might be is that job market is going to be more corporate, less of that individual feeling, and probably competitive. For the really good jobs, it's going to feel pretty competitive, feeling less small town Idaho. Culture and amenities. Big pro, you've got a larger city amenities. You've got full-scale city life with really great dining, arts, concerts, professional sports, all that type of stuff. Some of the con might be that you're also going to have traffic and density is much higher, especially during, the rush hour, which is, a big shock for a lot of people. It was for me. Boy, I mean, you want to see traffic, you get out there, it seems like they're constantly working on that I-84 that comes through to that Boise Meridian and on up, and always trying to expand it, make it better. For whatever reason, it just feels like there's always a ton of traffic. So I always hated the rush hour there. If you're somebody that's moving there from a place with the slower lifestyle, maybe like I was coming from southeast Idaho, growing up there, and then all of a sudden getting into, with all of the traffic and my road rage, dealing with that and whatnot, it might feel like a bit of just keep that in mind. Relocation, it is most likely going to be a easier transition there in that Boise area. It's more diverse population and a culture that is generally more accustomed to transplants from all over, including California and Washington. One of the cons is, if you're moving to Idaho for political reason, it is going to be less conservative. While still conservative, Boise is a lot more politically moderate and in some areas liberal than the hyper-conservative pockets of North Idaho. And so if you're leaning in those directions, that might feel like a better fit to align with your values. Lifestyle, pros is, I think They have better weather in some instances. So the reason I say that are winters are generally milder with less snow. In fact, for the 15 years I lived there, I didn't even own a snow shovel. I mean, we would get snow, then by 10, 11, it's turning into rain, and then it's gone. It would get slushy and whatnot, but I just never had a need for a snow shovel. So less snow, more sun, which could be a detriment in the summer. You're going to have higher temps that last longer. Like here in Idaho, that's true. We get up into those low hundreds, but geez, in the evening, we're opening up our windows. It typically drops down to those 60s and it cools off at night, where you just don't always feel that in the summer in that Boise area. Remember, you are a high desert there. So you are going to have less snow and a lot of the less snowpack that you would see in North Idaho, but also it is less scenic. That is probably one of the big cons. The surrounding scenery is high desert, which is less appealing to those seeking, the forests and lakes and mountains of the North Idaho area. Know that those are all items that you should take into some consideration there in the Boise area. But let's talk about some of those same things here in the North Idaho area. We're going to utilize a lot of the same criteria. We already kind of talked a little bit about the housing cost of living. And outside of the Coeur d'Alene, Sandpoint area, you will find probably a lower cost of living than maybe what you're going to see down there in that Boise Meridian and some of those areas, unless you get quite a ways outside of town. More affordable housing in some of those areas, especially as we get out into some of these smaller towns, and land. That Boise area just does not have a lot of land. And if you're looking for acreage, you're most likely not going to find it in that area. One of the cons here, though, is we do have a housing shortage. The market is tight. Prices have not seen the big drop that a lot of us thought we would see. Interest rates are still up. And so, we still get people coming in with cash and some of those things that will often make the buying process frustrating. And so just know that it can get a little frustrating here in this North Idaho area with the housing market. And as a full-time real estate agent, that is my job to try to make it easier for you. But that's why we're here. Me and my team, we're always got time. We're always available. So let us help you make that buying process a little less frustrating. Let's talk about the jobs and economy. Here in this North Idaho area, we've got a huge outdoor tourism economy. So strong job markets in construction, healthcare, hospitality, especially in and around the lakes. You get outside of that and just know there is some limited career paths here. Fewer high-paying white-collar job opportunities compared to Boise, making remote work often a little more essential, or commuting into maybe that Spokane area or something like that. Culture and amenities. Let's take a little look at that. One of the big pros for our culture up here is the world-class mountains, lakes, forests, better outdoor lifestyle. If you enjoy doing things outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking, backpacking, mountain biking, road biking, skiing, whatever it is, boating, kayaking, all those things that we love to do outdoors, you can do it here in abundance. So we have got a lot of opportunities for outdoor activities here that I think we far and exceed many other places. And in most cases, a lot of that is just out your doorstep or within a 20, 30-minute drive. So something to keep in mind. But Part of the cons that comes with that is because we do have a lot of the outdoor amenities, we don't have a lot of the others. So fewer big city amenities, shopping, dining, specialized services are very limited, which often require a drive over to that Spokane, Washington area. Relocation, you know, one of the pros is this area has a very strong community feel. Smaller towns offer, you know, a powerful sense of community and connection, which is a major draw for a lot of families. But some of the cons is maybe that California, Washington stigma. Transplants often feel a little bit of friction from the longtime residents who are wary to newcomers coming into the area and changing the area. So it sometimes takes a little longer to maybe fit in or to find your people or your niche or your group, whatever that might be, especially in some of these smaller communities. So lifestyle, big pro, up here, it's a slower pace of life. Less traffic. You get a lot of that genuine small town feel, which is perfect for those that are trying to get away from the big city stress. But some of that cons of the lifestyle here is the extreme weather. Winters can sometimes be intense, and sometimes we do get heavy snow, which can be isolating and a major adjustment for people coming from a lot of those warmer climates. And for those that are fast-paced lifestyle, it may feel a little frustrating here. So anyway, those were the ideas that I came up with about my Boise versus North Idaho. If you are considering any of the two, would like to talk more about that, or if I missed something, leave me a comment below. Like and comment our video to help us out here. Please subscribe to be notified every time we talk about anything going on here in the North Idaho area. And as I said, as a longtime resident of that Boise area, I could have a lot of feedback of pros and cons. If you have other things in mind that you would like to talk about those areas, I'd be happy to chat with you about some of those, or put you in touch with some great professionals in that area if you're looking for deeper information, what I can offer, but also here in the North Idaho area. Please, if you have any questions that we can help with, like I said, my team and I, we are never too busy for you. Feel free to reach out, and would love to help make your move to North Idaho a smooth transition. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next video.